That's right. All right. What's good? What's good? What's good? You are tuned in to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad in effect with me today. I got my brother out of LA. Eddie, what's going on, good brother?
Hey man, I'm good, Kill.
All right, I see you repping the Mets over there, Queens to the fullest. You know what I mean?
Man. Yo, we got a new owner, man.
Okay. I didn't know you was a Mets fan.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, here's the thing, like Dodgers were way before my time.
Right.
But I always hated the Yankees.
Okay.
Always hated the Yankees. So I'm sorry, man.
and here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. How I'm gonna connect you to my brother from Morgan 92 right here. Kel is from Queens, but he's a Yankees fan. Go figure. How y'all switching on me, man? But Kel, what's going on, good brother?
Yo, it's good to be back. Good to be, man. Salute, man.
No doubt. I see you got Starks dunking on Jordan and everything back there. So you know that. You know that. To the fullest, no doubt. I got my brother Penny over here. What's going on, good brother?
What up, everybody? I'm good. I'm ready.
All right, no doubt. Look, y'all know how I do. Let's get right to it. But this topic isn't mine. This good brother right down here to my lower left, lower right. I'm off. Lower right came up with the topic this week, so I want to shoot it over to Penny to tell y'all what we're gonna be chopping up about this week. So, Penny, where did the topic come from? What we chopping it up about this week?
Man, it came from a convo that went back to another convo because recently we ranked, our favorites or the best EPs ever, and right, Nick does rankums, so we did that. And it was fresh in conversation, and then it came up again. And not that they stopped making them, they make them, but they used to hold a really special place, in rap, especially late 80s into in the 90s. So we're gonna talk about our favorite EPs. I mean, they still making them, so I got a few. I got some that are more recent. But going back to the golden era, the Renaissance, I mean, we got some of those that stood the time, I think. So we'll see what everybody got.
All right, no doubt. Now, when we talk about EPs, again, I get caught up in that it's not just us talking at younger folk and older folk who may not know or watching. So for people who may not know, EP just stands for extended play. Now, here's the thing. The recording industry defines the EP as something containing 3 to 5 songs or under 30 minutes. The flip is any release that has 5 songs or more or different songs and the running time is over 30 minutes is considered an album. So that's how they define it. So, when people were, saying like when Ye was on that run with just 7-song albums, like with Daytona and Kid Cudi and all that, technically those would have been considered albums because albums used to be, technically just from the recording industry standpoint of it. But I know for us, a lot of folk was like, well, if it's only 8 songs, then it ain't a real album, which I want to start looking into based off of, we're all old up here. You know what I mean? To some extent, you know what I mean? I enjoy being old. People try to diss me, say you old, nigga. I didn't think I was going to live past 18. 46 is beyond a blessing. You got to come with more than something than nigga you old to me. You know what I mean? That's a compliment that I'm old, that I survived. But the thing that I want to talk about is how the medium on how we get music kind of defined how much music we got. And what I mean by that is I was doing the research and vinyl records can only hold 22 minutes per side. So if you have a vinyl album, you're only getting 44 minutes. That's the max of which you could get. After that, when we got the cassettes, the basic cassettes were 60 minutes. So now you had another 20 some odd minutes, a little bit more. I guess that's 17. I suck at math. Y'all can do the math yourself. So you could get a little bit more. When CDs came out, now you had 80 minutes. So I just want folk to understand, like, there was a time, like, we could look at 3 albums right here that I don't know any people who wouldn't say that they aren't classic. If we look at Marvin's, what's going on? You know what I mean? I think everybody can say it's a classic album. Right? Huh?
9 tracks, right?
9 tracks. 9 tracks. So if this album dropped in 2020, people would be saying, oh, 9 tracks, that's it. That's an EP. You know what I mean? Another album that I think most people could say is a classic. We have Thriller, Michael Jackson, 9 songs. Again, if this dropped today, it would be, oh, why Mike only giving us 9 songs? Why we don't have 15? Where are the skits? Where are the intros? Everything like that. Prince's Purple Rain, another classic, 9 songs. So I'm just trying to get folk out there to understand that because we're older, we grew up on this music. So 9 songs wasn't the be all to end all. Now, somewhere along the lines, we got a little, I guess we got spoiled. Because when Nas dropped Illmatic, Kelv, I remember we were at Morgan and it was like, yo, this nigga only giving us 9 songs. Like, yo, what's good with this? Like, yo, and we're old, so we remember these albums, but somewhere along the line, we got spoiled by the tape coming out. Because I want to say CDs dropped in like 90. I want to say they got real heavy like 90, 91. So I'm like in 11th grade. So now we're starting to get spoiled by the amount of songs that are on stuff like that. And so now when we get albums that are like 22 songs, like this new Busta album, you know what I mean? Like it's just like 23 songs. It's just like, yo, bro, like what, like this is too much. But then you've got some of these younger people on my timeline, like, nah, OG, like that's perfect. I want 22 songs or whatever like that. So, just looking at how the mediums changed and how everything went like that. And the EPs are usually something short, sweet, to the point. So just wanted to do that real quick. Now, top 5 EPs. I just wrote a lot down. I'm going to have to just rank them as I go. So, Penny, this is your topic. It's your show. What is your number 5 EP for you right now?
So, I got 4 real solid in place. The 5th was hard for me to really pinpoint. So let's see. I'm just going to go with one. All right, I'll go with Land of the Crooks. Sean Price.
Okay.
M-Phases. Just Bruck shit, really. A few songs that are just 2 pieces, each one of them. Bag of Shit is on there. Murder Type Thinking with Guilty. And Small Professor Remix is on there. The title joint, Land of the Crooks, using boot camp samples. It was dope. I'll put that.
Right.
Quick mention to Benny's and Smoke Dizzle. That was the competitor.
All right. No doubt. All right. Ed, what's your number 5 EP, John?
My number 5, I got this one. I think Slum Village fans know this one. It's the J88 Best Kept Secret. That joint is dope. It's like, I want to say it was supposed to be between Fantastic Volume 1 and Fantastic Volume 2. So it had a couple joints that originally appeared on Fantastic Volume 1, but basically when that dropped, like a lot of people had never heard of Fantastic Volume 1. I think it kind of leaked later on. Probably unless you were in Detroit or something, which I was not. But yo, like really dope. I think it had like the Look of Love remix on there and some other really, really dope joints. I mean, Dilla, crazy production on that. Everyone talks about Fantastic Volume 2, but I feel like that, as for that being an EP, it's like right up there.
Right. And I guess since I'm gonna save mine, but very dope pick, Ed. Very dope pick.
Dope.
Kel, what you got for your top for your number 5, good brother?
As Nas says, for the stuck in the 90s, that's me. Cypress Hill, Something for the Blunted. I remember being in high school. Used to be a bunch of bootleg tapes on the Jamaica Avenue. They're like selling for $1. And someone was playing Funk Phil one. I was like, what is that? Just hearing that. And then Real Estate, obviously Precursor too. Cypress Hill full-length album. But just hearing that was just something to me. It's just a different mugs, different sound, all together. Just feeling that.
All right.
That's a dope pick.
Definitely. Yeah, very dope pick. Very dope pick with Cypress. Yeah, we got to do a show about Cypress, man. You know what I mean? I think they're one of them unheralded groups from the 90s. You know what I mean? And that first album was just classic to me. You know what I mean? An amazing album. And it was crazy because I was reading, I forgot what I was reading about it, but B Real was talking about how the album really didn't take off at first, and it wasn't until Juice came out, and they had How to Just Kill a Man in the scene when Bishop was chasing GQ, and he said like after that, like then it just skyrocketed. After being in that album.
One was the first single, I think.
Right. Which is crazy to me. Like you can have a record label doing all this promotion for you, or lack of promotion, and then a scene in a movie is what just blows you up. You know what I mean? So that's very dope. I guess if I gotta put these in order, number 5, I'm gonna go with this joint right here, NWA, 100 Miles and Running. This was in between Straight Outta Compton and Niggas for Life. I love the single 100 Miles and Running. They had the video for it. They had Just Bite It on here, Real Niggas, Surprise Part 2. So just, you know, I'm one of the few people here's the thing, what I've realized. You got the streets and then you got the Twitter streets. Like in the streets, yo, I don't know, maybe it was a Philly thing. We all fuck with Niggas for Life. Like, you know what I mean? And now being on Twitter for 11 years, it seems like a lot of people's like, I really wasn't a fan of that album. And I'm just like, what? Like, you know, and again, one thing I do love about Twitter is because it gets you out of your regional bag. You know what I mean? So again, maybe it was just my people's in uptown part of Philly. Maybe niggas down south Philly hated the album. You know, but you know how it was, Kel, when we at Morgan, we like, yo, if everybody loves this album, that's kind of like that was it. We didn't know what people in Cali were rocking, you know, or things like that. So Penny, what did you know? You were in Cali at the time. What was
I was in LA. So I was just gonna say, I mean, a lot of people dug it, right? But you also had something specific happening there after the split. Some people just didn't fuck with NWA like that after that. They only fuck with Q. Yeah, and some people didn't really fuck with Q for a minute. They fuck with NWA and ran and, you know, but and I admit it, man. I was Q. I was on, you know, I was riding with America's Most Wanted. Right. And the EP that would come up and, you know, and Death Certificate and all that. And I wasn't even, I mean, I had this tape. It's on my list under Slept On, actually. I have a few for Slept On, and that's a Slept On one. No, but that really happened, man.
Yeah, it's weird because that's a great point of people choosing sides. You know what I mean? And I think a lot more people, I think most people who liked NWA, their favorite rapper, and it was Q. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm one of the minority. My favorite rapper was always Ren, even when Q was in it. You know what I mean? But I know I'm the minority in that. So you're right. If the favorite rapper of the group leaves, then a lot of times it was that okay, whose side are we on? And then especially after No Vaseline, it really was like, oh, yo, he just killed them. So yeah, we done with them almost. So that's a very dope point. But that's my number 5 joint, 100 Miles and Running. Penny, what you got for your number 4 joint?
Okay, number 4. The first time we heard Pete Rock and CL Smooth. All Sold Out. Good Life. I dig the remix better, but they're both on there. Mecca and the Soul Brother. Creator, which is still one of my favorite Pete Rock songs. I mean, it's crazy, but it is. I love that fucking song, man. All Sold Out, the title. This shit got a lot of play, man.
Yeah.
We really anticipated the album.
Yeah. And it was crazy because it kind of came out of nowhere. I remember seeing the video for the Creator, and it kind of was just like, the tempo was just crazy. It was back to them like 100 per, you know, beats per minute, you know, crazy bass. You know what I mean? Yeah, you talking about, you know, Cass back when Cass had the Amigo, the Suzu Amigos with the, you know, with the big speakers in the back. So you talking about Cass coming through the hood, you know, with the speakers rattling and the door rattling with the Creator joint was crazy, man.
Crazy.
You know, it was definitely crazy. It was always bugged to me that was like their first single, and CL don't even rhyme on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was always the bug part to me. Like
the video.
Right, like the DJ is the one rhyming the whole time. You know what I mean? So definitely a dope pick on that one. Eddie, what you got for your number 4?
All right, my number 4, I got the Legendary EP by The Roots.
Ed, are you at my crib or something, bro? Like, yo, like we just, I mean, it's great, you know, it's the brotherhood, but I'm like, God, I ain't gonna have a list left with you, man. Like, but go right ahead.
All right, yo. So the thing is, leading into this, what the Roots were doing, they ain't doing it no more, I don't think. But I think starting with Organics, probably they were numbering, right? So the first album was numbered 1, 2, whatever, and then the next album continued like the whole number, right? So even with Illadelph Half-Life and Things Fall Apart. So I remember having and this dropped before Things Fall Apart, but I remember having Illadelph Half-Life. I had Things Fall Apart, and I was like, "Yo, what's up with the numbers? Why, what am I missing?" And then that's how I found out about the Legendary EP. But that table of contents Part 3, yo, that alone, man, is worth the price of admission on this, yo. Because on Things Fall Apart, table of contents 1 and 2, how it's basically like the same song, but they switched the beats because Malik wanted to rhyme on one beat, Thought wanted to rhyme on the other beat, and then for them to come out with the table of contents Part 3, and honestly, like if you would have told me that was a Dilla beat, I would have believed it, but I guess it's not. It's just Questioning, but that joint is crazy. And then the Ultimate, which is, I don't know how a proper version of that hasn't ended up on an album, like a studio version, but I guess it's just one of them joints that the live energy was just so much doper, but the Ultimate is dope, and then they had the live version of the Next Movement, so very dope EP to me, man.
All right, dope pick. Kel, what you got for your number 4, John?
I got Beatnuts, Intoxicated Demons.
Ooh, yeah.
Reign of the Tech, world famous. The story is hilarious to me. I thought, the track, the Beatnuts is just crazy, So
yeah,
obviously, like you said, Kill, just leading up to their Street Level album. Well, most of these EPs leading up to the album, just kind of hitting these songs got you ready for that full length album, and to me, that was, obviously the Street Level classic. So.
Yo, I was gonna bring this up later, but you brought it up, bro. I always called this album the Beatnuts. It wasn't until I got on Twitter that people were saying Street Level, and the reason why I think it's the Beatnuts is because usually on the side of the CD, it's always gonna put the artist name.
Oh yeah,
and then the title, and it just has the Beatnuts. So back when we got this at Morgan, you thought it was Street Level?
No, I didn't think it was Street Level. I thought it was Beatnuts.
Yeah, I just thought, and then niggas was like, nah, you talking about the Street Level album. I'm like, the fuck you talking about the Street Level album? They like, yo, the joint say Street Level. I'm like, nigga, the side say Beatnuts. So I you know what I mean? But Penny, what about you? Was you calling this the Street Level when it dropped?
Not at first, no, Beatnuts. But over time, I think it stuck to me that it's Street Level. I don't know where I picked it up.
I think within the last 2 years, because I heard people talking about it in, like, on a classic level. And they're like, Street Level. I'm like, what album is that? I don't even have that album.
Right.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do.
And then the beat, when you look at the cover, it just says beat. Like normally on a CD, is going to have the title on the actual CD. But neither. I was just, Eddie, what about you? When this dropped, were you saying Street Level or the Beatnuts?
I remember, just like Kelvin did, I'm like trying to look for that album. I was like, where's the Street Level album? Like, but no, it was the Beatnuts, yeah. But I guess like the funny thing is when I looked it up on streaming services, now it says like it's amended. It's like the Beatnuts, and it's like Street Level. So they kind of amended it. I think it's just one of those situations where it's just what people started calling it.
Okay.
So they knew that if people wanted to find it, they were probably going to use that title. So they just amended it to say that.
All right.
But yeah, it's kind of wild.
That makes sense. Oh God, number 4. I guess with number 4, I'm gonna go with. You know what? I'm gonna go with something that a lot of folk, it's funny, don't even know about. Clear Lake Auditorium, De La Soul. De La Soul had this, and I think it was only on vinyl. And it's a clear. When I edit the show, I'll put a picture of it up. But it's a clear vinyl, and it has this joint called. It's like rocking females MCs. It's called, I'm looking at it right now, it's like SHFE MCs, and it's featuring Tribe. Calv, I'm sure you've heard this on mixtapes, but it had that joint on it, which was crazy. It's a posse cut with them and Tribe, dope. It's got In the Woods, IMIB, Patty Duke, I Be Blowing. So it basically was like some of the joints off of Bloom Mind State. But it's that rocking females, whatever it's called, She-Fi MCs. That was crazy. So clearly,
I want to say, you remember when De La dropped their whole catalog when they were having a label beef?
Yeah.
I feel like that was part of that drop because I remember seeing that and I was like, yo, I never heard of that before. So that was like the first time I checked it out was when they dropped their whole catalog like that.
Yeah. But if folk haven't heard it, YouTube it, Google that. That joint with Tribe is a banger. Fife kills it. It's De La and Tribe. So, and it's 94. So De La, Tribe in 94. You can't beat a De La Tribe song in 94. So that's my number 4. Penny, what's your number 3, good brother?
Kelv's is gonna come up again, but not here. I'm gonna go with this is number 3, right?
Yeah, number 3.
All right. Soul Clap EP. I mean, if I go with play, like how much I play this, I probably play this more than anything, any EP, except maybe my number 1. But dude, I played this shit to death.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole front to back, all the time. Let the party ride, never fast forward, everything.
Mm-hmm.
That party beat, party groove beat, and the song itself so dope. Soul Clap, man, that was such a big rap hit. It was a big ass boom bap hit, big, like parties, clubs, video. It was like I don't know, you can't call it an underground hit. It was a legit, man, boom bap hit. Catching Wreck on it. Show, that's show first time on a mic. He was nice to me. I mean, and when you're the DJ and you're flowing, and we come from a time that DJs never flow. And
right.
You expect that with okay, let's see what he does. And he was nice. I always thought he was nice with it. Because back then I wasn't thinking about show like I think about Diamond.
Right.
Diamond was rapping. I was like, oh, he did his beats too. What else on here? To me, one of the most slept on posse cuts ever is Digging in the Crates. I mean, I love that song, yo. Diamond. I mean, the lyrics are simple but so dope. They've been sampled so much. You know what I'm saying? Diamond show. Man, there's a line that show says that me and my day ones, they still text me out of nowhere. Back when I was a hoodlum, beating on nerds. When he was talking about being up on 163rd. It just out of the shit sticks to you like glue and just does not leave you. That beat is just incredible. AG and Finesse on there. Giant in the Mental, the last song on there, is hard, man. And that wasn't on the album.
Tell me this, man. Because Show and AG, to me, are so dope, but nobody talks about them. You know what I mean? And, Penny, me and you always talk about Runaway Slave. Love this album. I felt like, Soul Clap was the wonderful precursor to this album. But why do y'all think they're not talked about like that?
I got a theory. All right.
All right.
I'll take you back memory lane. Maybe. I think this is probably true to everybody wherever we was. Do you remember the time, like after Gang Starr first album, maybe even into Step in the Arena, when people was like, man, Guru can't really rhyme. He's boring. So the beats are dope. There was people that wasn't feeling Guru for a reason. I don't know what. The monotonous something.
Yeah.
But that was a voice. I heard that shit. I remember that shit. Because I remember when everybody was like, "Oh man, we love Gang Starr." And to me, man, I got No More Mr. Nice Guy like, day one. I think a similar thing was happening here. Because for whatever reason, AG is so forceful, witty, has a dope voice, delivery on point, has some dope punchlines sometimes, but people are like was bored by him, and I was like, some of my boys was like, "What do you mean? AG can't rap?" And to me, he can always flow, but I think to this day, I see that shit on Twitter, and maybe a sentiment that people still have, or they develop it later. I don't know, but I don't think they appreciate him. That's it. They're underappreciated.
Right.
I mean, full scale. The other EP is such a dope fucking EP, and they had that after Goodfellas or right before. I think Spit is on there.
I think that was after.
After Spit is one of the hardest songs of that time, man. Everybody wanted to rap over that song and like everywhere.
Yeah,
that beat.
All right.
So I think they're just underappreciated.
Right. What you got, Kel?
I was gonna say, I think part of it, kind of bad in the sense in his camp, he got Big L. So I think Big L is so, he's flamboyant, his label and stuff like that. But he like steals the show, I think that he overshadows AG or Diamond or maybe not Joe, but just his flow and his style.
OC for sure.
Yeah. What you think? What you think, Ed?
Yo, I don't know. Like, I'll be honest, I was kind of late on them. You guys are older than me, but I remember, hearing that. I mean, I agree with you totally on a Runaway Slave. I agree totally on the EP. I don't know. Like I said, I went back to listen to it with fresh ears. Obviously, at the time, maybe trends are different. Different MCs are hot. Maybe sonically or rhyme wise, style wise, it just wasn't popping like that. I don't know. I can't call it. You know what I mean? But it sounds dope to me. But
right. And for me, I think it's a bit of what both Penny and Kel were saying, because from the Penny side of it, I feel like AG was that MC that was dope in 92, but then also that time around 92, we're getting Redman. So we're getting a lot more lyrical, than just AG being a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 MC, which is no diss. It's no diss, but I feel like so many of our heroes have gone through that. You know what I mean? And the level of MCing has always kind of stepped up. You know what I mean? So we went from, Kool Moe Dee, Go See the Doctor, to LL's type thing. And that's different, and then it kind of left them in the back. And I remember DMC saying when he heard Rakim, he was like, man, it's a rap for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody was taking it to the next level. And I felt like, this joint came out, and Kel, this is me and Kel's freshman year at Morgan. So it holds a special place in my life, because every time I hear a song, it takes me back to Baldwin Hall, my freshman dorm, and everything like that. But I felt like this 92 release was right. This was kind of like when, almost saying like this is where like AG style was just kind of getting played out, and not in a negative way, but just it was fading out. You know what I mean? And as much as I love Show's beats, a lot of times never really stood out. And I'm trying to mince my words, because I'm not in no way dissing them at all. But like Penny, what you said with Guru, even if you didn't like Guru, Primo's beats was so big that you had to love DeWick. You know what I mean? And to me, their DeWick was Soul Clap, but like that was it. Like the average person just knows them for Soul Clap. They don't know them for 40 Acres and a Mule. They don't know them for even off of Goodfellas, the first single, Next Level. I never hear anybody play the OG version.
No.
I never hear
It was
anybody
good.
play the
I liked
showbiz
it,
version.
but it's not Primo.
Yeah, I love and I liked it. But when that Primo Next Level remix dropped, again, that's the difference between the two. So the first is dope, but Primo just takes it to that next level, and I think that was it. And then Kelvin, what you were saying, you're in a crew with OC, with Big
OC,
F,
yeah.
with Lord Finesse, like with a Fat Joe, who by the second album was much better than the first Fat Joe. So almost by default, and again, no knock on show, you're probably the worst nigga in your crew, which isn't a bad thing. So I don't want to say worse because that sounds like you whack, but you're not. But you know, you and Fat Joe may be fighting for who's better or whatever like that. Were you gonna say, Penny?
But you hit it. The lyrics, the lyricism. We were entering the lyricism era really again. You know, people were really coming with more complexity, even on his own crew, like you said, but OC. So I think you hit it right there. And
yeah, I think you know, good point. And I was thinking what you were saying about hip hop transitioning, just overall, not just lyrically, obviously, but you know, lyrically, sonically, you know, song structure and all that. You know, even a song like Party Groove, you know what I mean? Like it feels a little bit out of place for like 92, right? If that dropped in 92, like, and maybe, I don't know if they worked on the music beforehand and then just kind of dropped it on that date, but it kind of feels like it could have dropped like a year or two before, and maybe it would have fit a little bit better.
Right, sure.
Yeah. I mean, because again, I think freshman year, and I'm like, Kelv, I'm thinking Redman's What dropped. You know what I mean? So when you're listening to Time for Some Action and watching Nuggets and what Red was doing lyrically, you know, compared to what AG was doing, you know, again, it's nothing wrong with what AG was doing, but it's just, it wasn't. Now we're seeing Redman. Now we're being introduced a couple years later to Keith Murray. You know, now we're being introduced to a Nas and to a Buckshot, and they were just rhyming on another level than what AG was. And again, this is no knock to AG, but to me, he was the player who never really improved. Like AG rhyming right now still sounds like AG rhyming in 1992. You know what I mean? And, you know, so I think that may be, you know, one of the reasons why they don't get mentioned a lot. Also, just because of the caliber of the other albums. You're seldomly, this is why me and Penny always, how we connected through Twitter, because we would always be saying these albums were classic, and it's like, but nobody else calls them classics. Like, you probably won't have anybody saying, oh, what ain't a classic, or, you know, I loved it. But then you have people who be like, oh, I never even heard Runaway Slave. And it's like, yo, you never heard Runaway Slave? Like, how did you not even hear them? Like, you treating these niggas like they was the Boogie Monsters or something. Like, you know, like, you know, and no not to the Boogie Monsters, but it's just like, yo, come on. Like, y'all really treating these niggas like, what Eddie say? Like, my name is Stanley. Like, yo, this is Show and A. So, you was going to say something else, Penny?
Oh, no, just a side note, just because Eddie brought it up. That Kid Capri sample on Party Groove, all right? So back in the day, we all thought we knew what the fuck he said, but, you know, I figured out.
I still don't know what he's saying.
Huh?
I still don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, no. And I realized.
Please school us, Penny.
Huh?
I said, please school us. No.
No. See, I found recently that I thought that other people discovered it over the years, and I forgot what it was, but no, I know what it is, but I forgot the DJ. I forgot the DJ's name who broke it down, but it was at some DMC competition. It's a full sample of him at a party, right? Him, Kid Capri, rocking a party and talking about a dance, the bend and stretch. And because the sample starts with him saying bend and stretch, keep it going to the bend and stretching as the vibe and goes bend and stretch, keep it going to the bend.
Wow.
Dude, when I figured that shit up, I called, you know, I made phone calls. It's like, yo,
right.
Hear this
Yo,
shit,
that's
you
why
know?
that's why them head exploding emojis. Here's the wild part. Here's the wild part. That's why
I realized that other people didn't figure it out. So I mean, I was like, whoa, yeah.
to me, it's one of them songs that I didn't know what he was saying, but it was like I never even bothered to. It's almost like the superhero who you really don't give a fuck who they really are in real life. Like you want to know who Batman is or who Spider-Man is. He's like, you like Red Robin. Don't nobody care about who you are in real life. So I just never did the research on it.
No doubt. I mean, I stumbled upon it, man. Really.
And the other thing with Party Groove is you can just play the instrumental. Woo! To rock the party, which isn't good because now we don't even want to hear you rhyme. It's like you just play the instrumental. We don't even need to hear you rhyme over it. But all I had to just say, this is no knock to Sean AG. We're saying they're one of the dopest groups, but me and Penny, whenever we get together, we literally will try to peel back the onion to figure out why is it that they can't? Why is it that they don't get the props that we feel they deserve? Because I feel like both their two albums are this is a classic. Probably Goodfellas I give a strong 4 to. But I just think they're both incredibly great albums to hear. Eddie, what's your number 3 joint?
My number 3, I got Intoxicated Demons. I think Kelv already talked about this one, so I won't belabor the point, but
I will.
I want to say
nah. Because here's the part, Eddie. We're all gonna probably say some of the same joints. So please talk about why you love it.
So what I love about this EP, what I love about the Beatnuts in general is the Latino representation in hip hop, and me listening to that and feeling like, yo, this could be my family. Like the sense of humor, the jokes, like that's all part of it. Like ragging, like even the crassness. Like you listen to that now. Like I just recently, I knew we're doing the show. I kind of listened to it again to kind of catch up again, and just a lot of those songs, like in this era of political correctness. It's like you can't even play those joints right now.
Nah, no true.
You know what I mean?
No true.
But it reminds me of me growing up and like how my uncles would talk, how my family and all that, like the jokes and all that, So it brings me to a good place, and they're just dope. And I mean, that's not even talk about the production. I mean, it's just amazing, like what they did with them samples and. It just bangs, man. It's amazing, yo.
Yeah, no doubt. Cal, what you got for your 3rd joint?
Number 3 is Killer Will, Ice Cube. So, just obviously, you got same thing, precursor to Death Certificate. That Jacket for Beats, man.
Yeah,
it was just like, I mean, I don't remember any song like that. Prior to that,
right.
Rock, it was just unique.
Homies
was just,
that's a first.
Yeah. So Killer Will, man, was just classic Cuban. It was just, as you can see, I mean, just after that, just progressed and just, released classic after that. I did. Talking about Eddie, you talking about political correctness. Cube got a line. I forgot the line. But he said something about Trump in the one of the songs. So I thought that was kind of interesting, bringing it up to today.
Right.
Yeah. Killer Will's crazy. My number 3, I'm kind of stuck, y'all, because I love J88, and Eddie already brought this up.
Yo, say it, man.
Yeah, I love this joint, man. This is what put me on to Slum. You know what I mean? My intern at 889, Shy, little young boy, was like, yo, you heard J88? I was like, nah. He was like, yo, Dilla's in it. And at that point, anything you told me Dilla was in, I was all ears. Yo, the Look of Love remix on it, like, this is just incredible. If you never, I mean, to the point, like, I was like, yo, I gotta buy it. He was like, yo, here, you could just have mine. Like, you've been letting me intern for you. So, love to my man Shy for this. But yeah, this is crazy. So Eddie, dope pick on this, because a lot of people don't even, I know a lot of, and it's funny because you could define, my homegirl Maya used to call them quilt makers. I have no idea why, but I just stayed with quilt makers because it sounded dope when she said it. And what she meant by that was that there are some artists that have discographies that are so big that you say you're a fan of them, but you're a fan of all the singles, like Prince. There are a lot of people who can say, I love Prince, I'm a fan of Prince, and never heard a Prince album. You know what I mean? And she would just be like, you know, Kill, don't be no quilt maker. Like, listen to the whole album. Don't just like the singles. Like, tell me your favorite song, your Stevie song isn't one of the singles. Like, you know, so to me, there's a lot of Dilla fans out there, especially since he died, who are like, oh my God, I love Dilla, I love Dilla. I'm like, yeah, J88. And they're like, what's J88? And I'm like, you're a quilt maker. Okay, cool, no problem. So if you say you love Dilla, check this out. If you don't know about Dilla, check this out. That's very dope. And then it's also tied with All Sold Out, the Pete and CL joint. Again, Mecca and Soul Brother was that was my joint. I love the creator, but I love Mecca and Soul Brother. I love the black and white video. Kel, you will remember back at Morgan, we had the Bears Den, which was like our pool hall. And I used to work there. And we would shoot when, you know, we're college students in 92. We ain't have no money. So we would shoot for CDs. You know what I mean? So I have CDs like, I don't know, Kel, if you can see that zoomed up, that's Judas the Traitor right there, which is
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So we went on, like I got a whole bunch of CDs with different people's names on because it'd be like, yo, took that L, give up that CD because we ain't have no cash. We were broke college students. So yeah, we used to gamble CDs, but these two are like tied for my number 3. I couldn't pull either one of them apart. Penny, what you got for number 2, good brother?
Kid was like, give me that disc, fool.
exactly. Like, you know, we lost so we and it's funny because I know another one. Where's this at? This funny right here. You know, where is it? Oh God. If you can, I gotta see how I could zoom in on this. This is R.I.P. my rap partner back in the day, Rallo. Who just passed away from a heart attack. This Boom Bap was his CD. So this was one of the joints he lost to me, you know, because we would always tag up our CDs. So RIP to my man. But that's how we used to get down. We used to just bet CDs over pool all day. So yeah. So that's what we would do. And I'm sure a lot of people out there got mine too. So it was all good. So what you got for number 2?
Kill at Will.
Yep.
Kill at Will. It's my number 2. Endangered Species. Jacking for Beats, I mean, yeah, no, that's a first, man. Nobody ever really jacked for Beats on the record. Talked about it as he's doing it. His homies, enemies, whatever, just jacking everybody. This is why, man, this is what I'm telling you, man. That charisma, that Curl Cube charisma was intense.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, we talked about it the last show. I mean, I was listening to him since NWA and the Posse, and I was just like, man, this dude is getting better and better every time he spits a rhyme. And the command that he took, man, just not just the topics, but the command that he took. I mean, Dead Homies is such a dope song. Was a hit video. You know what I mean? It's a sad damn expression of like, you know, day to day in Los Angeles. That shit was, he hit that note too. So, you know, I think later on in Cube's, and I think so too. Later on in his career, I mean, his albums sound kind of the same, but he's able to hit a lot of different topics and even in different tones here. The Product, yo, that's a sick motherfucking song, man. Yeah, Get Off My Dick is on here too. Man, I love this fucking EP. I play this shit to death. Yeah. Word, Kev.
I feel you. I'm gonna jump in and say that's my number 2 too. You know, the Killer Will joint. You know, I love the joint. Gotta say what's up. Just all the shout outs. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, love that.
You know,
love that joint.
Just that, you know, and like we all said, like there was nothing like jacking for beats. Like, yo, seeing the video and it's just like, you know. And then even when he was like, even if you down with my crew, and then that Welcome to the Terradome comes in, I'll jack you too. Like, it's like, yo, like this, yo, and it's funny you say that about Q because he used to remind me of like on some David Banner Incredible Hulk type shit. Like the more you got Q mad, like the doper he got. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was cool on Straight Outta Compton, but then when the NWA riff happened and like you get Q mad, it's like he takes that out on the beat. You know what I mean? And
the eyebrow,
you know, that, it's just like a whole nother level that Q could take his game to. He remind me of like you know, Kel, like in The Last Dance when they was talking about with Jordan, where he would look at anything to motivate him to like cut your throat out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a word, George Carl, you ain't speak? Bet I'm gonna drop 50 on y'all tomorrow. Like, I felt like that was like Cube, like, a word, you saying that about me? Bet, no Vaseline. Oh, you doing this? Let me get with the bomb squad. Like, the more you pissed him off, just the more wittier he got, the more strategic he got. Like, Cube was like playing chess when other niggas was playing checkers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, niggas was still trying to just ante up. So yeah, Kill at Will is my number 2 joint too. Ed, what's your number 2 joint?
My number 2, we all talked about it. Soul Clap EP. You know what I mean? For all the reasons everyone said. I mean, it's just classic. Yeah, a lot of the songs wind up on the album, but still very dope.
Yeah, but truth be told, for a lot of these EPs, the songs ended up on the album. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I never knew, but I always wondered, was the EP more of like, because I want to say the first time I really heard of a hip hop EP was Kill It Will. You know what I mean? Not saying that was the first, but that was like the first time that I kind of was like, okay, it's not an album, but well, it's new songs. I take it, but I didn't really know about. But it seemed like so many of these joints were the build up to the album, All Sold Out, the build up to Mac and the Soul Brother, Soul Clap, the build up to Runaway Slave. So Intoxicated Demons, the lead up. So it seemed like, I don't know if that's something that labels were doing and trying to do better promotion, because all these joints, All Sold Out is 91, 100 Miles and Running is 90, Kill It Will is 91, Soul Clap is 92, Intoxicated Demons is 93. You know what I mean? So it seemed like it was all around that same time. Like, they just came out of nowhere. So, but so I mean, even for me, what's up, man?
The flip side that was, real important, I'm sure to all of us, the joints that didn't make the album. So you have motherfuckers that didn't have Digging in the Crates. You know what I mean? And Giant in the Mental. Yeah. And I remember that shit. And I had it on my Styley tapes, my mixtapes. And like, oh, yes. No, that's on the EP. And even
so it's like you said, you had to come at least with 1 to 2 songs that may not make the album.
Yeah, and that was crucial enough to make the EP, gold. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was like, oh, you know what I mean?
Because as dope as Mac and the Soul Brother is, it doesn't have the creator on it.
No.
You know what I mean? If you want the creator, you got to get All Sold Out.
Yep.
So good point. Kel, what's your number 2, good brother?
Echoing Ed, Soul Clap is my number 2. I mean, for all the reasons that everybody else said,
Right.
I wore it out too, as Penny said too. I mean, it's like it's 90. Like you said, Kill 2 is 92. Well, I should say we're hearing these songs 92, just in the club and stuff like that. And then AG was just a different style. Digging in the Crates, obviously, you can hear them coming into formation too. So this is dope.
Definitely. All right, Penny, what's your number 1, good brother?
Intoxicated Demons. It's the world famous. The world famous. The world famous. Yo, man, I love this shit. When this dropped, see, and something, a sentiment that I thought about the other day, because I saw people talking about Beatnuts, which I love to see that, but they were talking about joints off Musical Massacre and some other joints even later on. And that's cool. I mean, I love a lot of their albums. I rock with a lot of Beatnuts albums, even Squeeze Me or whatever, Squeeze It, whatever it is.
Take it.
Yeah.
But when they came out, and this, like, I was thinking about this, and I was like, man, let me put on the video. Let motherfuckers understand when they came out. Reign of the Tech is such a violent, cocaine riddled motherfucking video.
Yep.
And the lyrics too, man, busting nuts and just ridiculous shit. I mean, those dudes, and they stayed like that, being nasty and funny, but they came out so hard. And I mean, the rest of the story is I couldn't post that shit because I don't want to get my fucking account suspended.
Right.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I swear to God, I recorded the whole shit on my phone, and I was like, nah, I can't post this. So that's how they came out. They were so hard to me, man. And to have the variety on the record, you know, with story, with but the hardness on it is what really got Psycho Dorf. Having all three of them on there rhyming, getting equal part, third of the trio. But man, the Reign of the Tech was really what hit. And that really fucking hit like a comet. And having Sadat X saying your goddamn hook, that shit was like
Reign of the Tech.
Yo, I mean, can you get a better voice saying a better sample of their own voice? I mean, you can't do it. And he was in a video and everything, man. I was like, yo, these motherfuckers. And to the last bit that I always think about, the first thing I think about, and Eddie spoke about it, and it's not Spanish all the way, but it's Afro Spanish. That sample captures really everything about them, man, and everything that's to come from them too. Right. Not just the big hits. They had some nasty shit, you know, and people forget about that.
Yeah.
But that's Intoxicated Demons, number one for me.
And again, as always, good brothers, while we brothers from a different mother, my number one, too, Intoxicated Demons, man. I think I'm always shocked when I hear things like, I know hip hop heads who I trust who are like, yo, I never really fucked with the Beatnuts. And I'm just like, yo, like how? Like, how didn't you fuck with them? Now, I will say this. Most of the people who tell me that are MCs. You know what I mean? So I get it. If you're at an elitist level of lyrics and lyricism, then you're right. You know, Juju and Les are not the most lyrical motherfuckers in the world. You know what I mean? Nope. So maybe just me being the producer, I love the Beatnuts for the beats. I love their rhymes. I always thought Juju was slept on. Juju always had a nice little line here. He always had a little quotable somewhere, you know, bury that ass where God can't even find you. Like, he always had something that he would say that I'd be like, yo, that nigga just said, I'm going to bury your ass where God can't even find you. You know, but like you said, Reign of the Tech. Yo, Calv, I was on the bridge. I was with Ski and Gerald and all of them. And Gerald was like, yo, you heard that new Reign of the Tech? I was like, nah. And it's like when you had your Walkman, he was like, yo, listen to this. I was like, God damn. Like, it's like the beat was just crazy. Like you said, Sadat X can't stand the Reign of the Tech. And it was just like everything about them was just dope. And to me, like maybe out of every EP, and I mean, of course, Killer Will is different because we had already had America's Most Wanted. I think out of all the EPs, this is the one that had me the most hype for what was coming next. You know what I mean? Like, no doubt. You know, it was like, yeah, I like Pete and CL, and I'll get their album, but it's like, yo, when are these niggas coming out? This is who I want to hear from. So I think that's why I made my number one. And I look, of course, love Reign of Tech, but I love the joint on here, No Equal. You know, when they sample Q-Tip, your mic and my mic. Come on, yo, No Equal. Like that joint was dope. And I mean, yeah, and what I loved is when you listen to Reign of the Tech, it's not jazzy, it's hard. But then when you listen to No Equal, it's crazy jazzy. It's got the bass line. Even when you go into the Beatnuts joint, Props over here, the upright bass line, you know. So I love the fact that they could pull from so much. They could pull from Spanish records that people wasn't sampling from yet. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, this is just my number one. And again, Penny, I was sitting back like talking to T, like, yo, I wonder if me and Penny gonna had the same joint, you know, tonight. And as always, it is what it is. Ed, what you got for your number one, man?
My number one, I got All Sold Out, you know, and to be honest, like, you know, all them joints, like we had like a lot of the same joints, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's really hard. Like the margins are really thin, but you know, I love Pete and CL. You know, I do agree with what y'all are saying. I think it is funny that, you know, the single that blew them up was the one that CL wasn't even rhyming on. It's funny, but you know, it was dope. I mean, it was dope. You know, Pete had, I mean, you know, when you listen to CL rhyme, and how smooth he is, and how, you know, like people clown on CL because they're like, what the hell is he talking about? But he still is a dope technical MC. You know, you gotta give him that, right? Yeah. And Pete Rock, when you compare the two, then you could see, all right, Pete Rock ain't really an MC, but he just has a really dope voice.
Yeah.
I mean, just, so ill, man, and he makes it work, But then you got Mecca and the Soul Brother on there, All Sold Out, Good Life. I mean, it's just a really, really dope EP, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I mean, like you said, I think the difference between all these is so far. Like in all the shows I've done, I usually already have my stuff in order. Like today it was kind of like just going off the top because you can't go wrong with damn near any one of the ones that we put. Like, you know what I mean? So I think, like you said, that margin of error is so small that any of these could have been, the number one joint. What you gonna say, Penny?
Yeah. About Pete, just think about how better he got rhyming. He's got really nice over the years.
And not just that, only that, but I want to say he's probably writing his own shit. Like Pooba was writing all the creative shit.
Yeah, Pooba was writing all that. Yeah,
right.
No, but like Soul Survivor, he was really coming with it.
Oh yeah, he's rhyming.
Yeah. I've never been mad at it if we just got a Pete Rock album with him rhyming. I'm not mad at that. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the people who I don't feel like you gotta have the all-star lineup on every song type thing. You know what I mean? I'm cool with, like I said, I mean, if Half Man Half Amazing is my favorite Pete joint, the Soul Brother #1, where it's just him rhyming, it's probably my number 2. You know what I mean? So, I'll take 7 SPs, put them in a line. I'll take 7 snares, put them in a line. Like that joint, and I was good with that with Pete giving 3 verses. So yeah, no doubt.
That shit is so hot.
About to say. Yeah. So, Cal, what was your number 1?
Follow Eddie again. All Sold Out. I mean, that's
okay.
Nice.
Like you said, all of us have the same.
Yeah.
Same Kill. I was gonna say, it'd been interesting. Yeah, JP on tonight. JP. The first time I ever heard this album, someone that JP and I both know growing up, this guy named Ron had this this LP. And he's like, yo, you gotta hear this joint. And it's Mecca and the Soul Brother, like you said. Just hearing them horns. And he was a producer too, kind of like JP and yourself. And he was like, I can't produce anymore. I can't do this. He's like,
right.
He's like, so I mean, I was floored by it as well, of course. Obviously, you guys said Creator, All Sold Out, Good Life, classic.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just to show you, man, the amount of great hip hop that was coming out again between these years. All these joints are released between 1991 and 1993. You know what I mean? So in that 2-year span, and again, these were the joints leading up to the album. So like, you know what I mean? Like this is like, these are the appetizers. It's like going to a dope restaurant. You like, God damn, the appetizer's so good. Like, what's the main meal gonna be? And I mean, I want to say that, I mean, All Sold Out was, Mecca and the Soul Brother. You've got, again, a lot of people didn't, but I loved it. 100 Miles and Running, The Niggas for Life, Killer Will, The Death Certificate, Soul Clap, The Runaway Slave, Intoxicated Demons. Like all these things went into an incredible album. You know what I mean? So it's not like we really went from, oh, that was a dope EP and now I'm let down by the album. Like you go see a trailer and you be like, yo, that movie looked good as shit. And then you see the movie, you be like, that was whack. Like, I feel like all these trailers would just, and you saw the trailer and you was hype, and then you saw the movie and you left like, yeah, like that's it right there. You know what I mean? So that's huge.
It speaks to the quality of these joints, especially these 4 or 5 joints we all brought up. You know what I mean? Yeah. The timeless factor of the music, that those are still the ones that we're talking about. Do we got a minute to say some slept on ones?
Oh no, definitely, bro. We got time. But before you go there, Penny, I want to talk about one of the things you were saying. Also, at this time in hip hop, there was always the competitive spirit. Also, you know what I mean. So you had the competitive spirit of, a Pete Rock who's running with a Q-Tip and a Large Professor and all of that, and wanting to prove himself. You're talking about an NWA who just lost their greatest member, and we got to show that we still got it because everybody think we don't have it no more. And a soul, a show in AG who's part of DITC, and we got to do this. And the Beatnuts, who to this day I never understand how they're down with the native tongue, because these were the most non-native tongue type people in the native tongue. Like nobody in the native tongue was talking about busting nuts inside your door. Like, I mean, it just wasn't like, you know, so all these people I felt like had something to prove. So I think that was the other thing of hip hop at that time and getting such incredible music. But yeah, Penny, what are some of your slept on joints?
Oh, okay. I think, but just to piggyback on what you said about them being a native tongue, I think it was more the production, the DJ circle. You know what I mean? That's how they was down with the Large, and I think that's how they got down with Tip. They're obviously from Queens and being producers, and I think that's how that went down. You know, there's one podcast interview that I found of those motherfuckers, really, and it's been a while since I watched it, since I listened to it. It was on the one that Rosenberg and Cypher.
Okay.
And they talked to him. I mean, you know, those kind of hard to listen to some of the people talking, but Beatnuts was really giving some gems. I mean, they're rowdy, but they really dropped some shit. But you know, some shit that I would love to bring up right now, but I can't even recollect. But I'll tell you some slept-ons.
You know, hold on. I know we keep cutting each other off. The other thing I want to say about the Beatnuts is even when Fash left, because folks slept on Fashion. I thought Fashion was a dope MC, but even when he left, I don't feel like Juju and Les kind of even like lost the step. Like Fashion is kind of like that. You know, what was that show Family Matters with Urkel, and like one of the cast people went upstairs and just never came back. Like they just erased her from the cast. Like I felt like that was like Fashion. Like it literally was like, yo, nobody even. I never saw one interview like, yo, what the fuck happened to Fashion? It was like you even forgot who wasn't there. You know what I mean? And again, no, I'm not dissing Fashion. I'm just saying. Not too many times can you have a 3-man group and it become a 2-man group, and most people don't even miss the 3rd man. But neither here nor there. Penny, what's your what you say, Eddie?
I say he's like the Kid Crumbs.
Yeah, like Kid Crumbs, right? You don't.
You know, he left after the first album and no one even cares.
right, exactly. What you got, Penny?
Fash was nice, but everybody. I mean, in my crew, like everybody really dug Fash. But for me, I really love Juju and Psych.
Yeah, Juju is always my favorite.
So yeah, me too. For the hard rhymes and Psych for the funny ones, to me it was like, you know, Psych had like a Bismarck, like a drunk Bismarck.
I was gonna say they were almost like, and I'm no way saying Juju is Kane, but it was like a Kane and Biz. Like Kane is real serious and Biz is real silly.
Exactly.
Like, that's what they did for me.
The hard voice and the, you know, more joking one, you know. And I think that's why that should work. So when he left, I didn't really, I didn't really feel it. So let me say a few slept-on ones that I didn't get to come up. Well, I did bring up Full Scale. To me, that's a dope EP. Peep it out if you haven't. Another one by Sean A.G. Above the Law had Vocally Pimpin', which was big, man. I mean, because it had some remixes from the first album, which is a classic, Living Like Hustlers, but it also had like a few new joints that had that G, you know, more of a G-funk sound to them. Another one, let's see. Of course, going back, Express Yourself had an EP. NWA. They had an EP for that. I know because I had it. Shout out to Compton's on there. B as a B is on there. Another one that maybe I don't know if Kill even heard this. Greenberg. That's Rock Marcy.
The Rock Marcy joint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard that? Oh, okay. So that's Marcy and Ono and Alchemist, and that's a dope one from recent years. Of course, you heard
check that out.
Yeah. The Gangrene, that shit is dope. Swan and Simpson. Guilty EP with Rasco.
Rasco from out west?
Yeah, man. That shit is hard, man. I forgot about it, but I played it the other day because somebody brought it up. Swan and Simpson. Rasco and Guilty Simpson. And that's it. That's my slept on.
My bad. I thought I had the vinyl for that the Sean AG joint you was talking about.
Oh.
guess I don't.
Yeah.
My dumb ass, I do got it. I know where it is. Eddie, what's some of your slept on joints?
All right, I got Akinelli, the Put It in Your Mouth EP.
Oh, good one.
Yo, like it was just so dope. I mean, and what I liked about it, like everyone talks about the first album, and what I like about this is, you know, it had some joints that wound up on the next album, but it didn't have all the bloat. You know, it was just a nice, concise 5 songs. Have Put in Your Mouth, have Fuck Me for Free, the Robbery song, Thug Shit, like it was just dope.
Album.
You know. Yeah.
And a dope EP. Good pick, man. I forgot about it. Damn. Eddie.
Yeah. I remember like I had that joint.
Here you go.
I remember when I was in the,
I know I had this somewhere in there. I know I had this somewhere. So, with a Cat Swing, her full scale. This is the joint right there. The full scale joint.
My ears right now.
yeah. And then I got this is wild that it's considered an EP, but it's Jean Grey, the bootleg of the bootleg EP. So
I know it's got like 13 songs, something like that.
Right. So when the EP,
Dope album.
it was like 7 tracks, and then it was like a hidden track that just had a whole grip of songs that weren't even on the track list, and it was like a bunch of old stuff that she did with like Natural Resources and some of her other affiliates like before that. Like I can't remember how many tracks, but she wound up re-releasing it as a regular album with all the tracks listed. But yeah, it was an EP when it dropped. There was that. I got Rhapsody, Beauty and the Beast, which is really the project that put me on to Rhapsody. I love that. I got The 7 with Talib Kweli and Styles P.
That was pretty dope, yeah.
That's dope, yeah. That's dope.
Very dope. And more recently, I got Milestones by Sky Zoo.
Oh yeah, that's a real dope one.
That's
Dope. What you got, Kel?
So I got, well, echoing Eddie again, I got Jean Grey as well. Same thing. I was like, it's like you said, it's, you don't think it's an EP with so many tracks, but definitely a dope album. I got one that's not hip hop. I got SWV, the remixes.
Dope pull.
Dope.
You know, I just got the Wu-Tang joint on there. It's got, you know, a couple remixes with the
Redman.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I got Tribe, the Jam EP. I don't know if you remember that. It's like it's hard to find. It's a I thought you would have it, Kel. If anybody would have it.
Damn,
I'm a little pissed I don't got this. The Jam EP?
The Jam EP. It's like 97, I think.
Oh,
okay. This was Beats from Life type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still up, you know. I mean, a lot of stuff is off Beats, Rhymes, and Life too. Some of the songs, so you know, It's not all material that wasn't heard somewhere else as well. But I think that's you know, that's big obviously before
Busta. Damn, they want $40 for this shit on Amazon?
Yeah.
I'm just like, shit, I ain't paying nothing for nothing off of Beats, Rhymes, and Life. No goddamn $40. I'm like, $40. Y'all are a show rather ask mine. All right. I mean, that's like them getting a divorce. That's like, yeah, nah, I'm good. All right, cool. You got anything else, Kel?
That's it.
All right, cool. The only joints I had, I don't know if y'all remember that. This is an EP release by Digital Underground. Had the joint same song on there. That was a joint. I guess it could be an EP, the White Men Can't Rap soundtrack. So you had the White Men Can't Jump soundtrack, but then you had the White Men Can't Rap soundtrack. That had Fake and Funk on it with Main Source. That had Gangstar's Now Your Mind. There was a Booyah Tribe joint on that. Another joint that a lot of people don't talk about, MC Ren's Kiss My Black Ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually had me waiting because he says on the back, you know, he got the from the forthcoming album, Life Sentence. So I remember getting this and being like, all right, because y'all remember I said Ren was my favorite out of NWA. So I'm like, all right, when's my man coming with his joint? And it just
you never dropped that,
out.
right?
No, it never dropped. It never dropped. You know what I mean? So that was just Ed, you talked about this, Legendary, the Roots, one a lot of folk don't know about. Another joint before God, Do You Want More? You had From the Ground Up with the Roots. This is a joint that was only like released in London. This is on the Talking Loud label. So again, just like with everything else, got Distortion and Static, Mellow My Man, it's got joints off of Do You Want More? But that joint was that. The Spot remix EP by the Beatnuts. They had a remix EP that, you know, had the corner. I don't have it down here, it's in my attic, but it had like a corner bodega on the corner on the cover. So you had that joint, the Spot remix EP. A lot of people don't remember this. Nightlife by the Outsiders. The Outsiders out of Jersey with Young Z and Pace One and Rod Digger. They had an EP called Nightlife. Who's that?
And Eminem.
Yeah, and Eminem. I don't think M was on this. I think this is after he left.
What's on that EP?
Oh God, what was that joint? It's the joint. I want to say it's hold on for 1 sec.
Because I must have had that. I love that. I love Young Z and Pace One.
Pace One. Yeah, there's both.
Yeah, Pace One to me. I mean, Pace One's I Declare War is one of my favorite joints. All right. Oh, it had the Rah Rah on it. That was like the main song that they had.
Yeah, I remember that.
Don't Look Now, the Rah Rah, Fuck Y'all Niggas with Rod Digger, Russia Click, Money is Going Down in Nightlife. But the big single was Rah Rah. Yeah. So and those are the joints that I had as a slept on one. Now tell me this, y'all. What do you all prefer for an album nowadays? Like I always tell people, to me, my perfect album is like 12 songs, no intros, no outros, no interludes. I put the needle on the record. Well, I don't put the needle on the record. You hit play and you hear a song. You don't hear nobody talking. I think 12 songs is good for me. I'm not mad at it. And I'm almost at the point where I'm not even mad at 10 songs anymore. You know what I mean? I think when Maxwell did Black Summer Nights, people were mad because it was 9 songs. And I was like, I'm cool. Because I think I've seen too many people do one too many songs. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I'd rather you just fall back. I feel like you can fuck up less doing 9 than you can doing 20. You know what I mean? I feel like you can drop the ball and do some old wild stuff over here if you're doing 20. So 10 to 12, I'm content with. That's an album. I have no beef with it. Penny, what about you in 2020? What is your perfect amount of songs on an album that you're good with?
I mean, 10, 12, I feel like that I'll definitely be living true to what people accuse me of living in 88. So I'm flexible. Maybe I'll take it up to like 13 or 14.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. If you give me dope songs and you really put the best songs that you got on there, and if you don't have 14, give me the 12 best. You know, if it's 12, give me 12. But I'm with you. I mean, it's too many. Right. And I don't know exactly when it started, but you know, I don't know what that has to do with double CDs or not.
Well, you know what? The funny thing you say about that is because a lot of people, this is if it's down here, this was considered, this is a double album. You know, he's the DJ, I'm the rapper. But it's only a double album because of vinyl. Because if you buy this on a CD, it's only one CD. You know what I mean? But because again, with vinyl only being 44 songs, this was like, I want to say it was hip hop's first double album. But again, it wouldn't have been a double CD technically if CDs were out at this time. So I think once CDs came out and it was like, oh, we can put more songs on the album, I think people then just began to run with that. And it was like, okay, like, you know, we have more time. Same thing when we first got 60-minute tapes. Then we loved the 90-minute tapes. It's like we get to tape more. And God forbid if you got the 120-minute tapes. It was like, you know, we weren't ever like, okay, well, I'm only taping on one side because I only want 60 minutes of. No, it was like dope. Like we got 120 minutes now. Like I can get I can get 2 hours of my favorite mix show on one cassette. So I think it started once CDs came into play, and you now had 80 minutes, and you could take up all that time. But what about you, Eddie? What is your perfect, you know, put in? Like, for instance, I wasn't mad at Daytona. Like I know a lot of people, I think, Ed, maybe you were one. I know Vegas was one. They was like, yo, I can't call this album of the year. I can't call it. I wasn't mad at it. I think if you just give me something dope that I love, I'm not mad at it. Now, maybe if there was some songs on there, I'm like, that wasn't. I felt like Daytona kept me from beginning to end. So I think I would have probably been more pissed if he had some dips in there. Because I'm like, damn, nigga, if you're only gonna give me 7, you better make sure you 7 for 7 type thing. Right. You know what I mean? But what's your perfect joint, Ed?
My perfect is like 13, like right around 13. And the funny thing about Daytona, I know people say, they consider it an album. Like for me, an EP, what an EP is supposed to do is like whet your appetite for an album. And as dope as Daytona was, it just made me want more Pusha T.
Right.
And it's just, you know, listen to it over and over, and it's just like, all right, damn, like now I want something more, a little bit more meat and potatoes. So like, for example, Black Thought, he dropped 3 Stream of Thought albums.
Right.
The first 2, like they're all considered EPs. Like if you look them up, they're all considered EPs. The first 2, I consider EPs. Like they feel like EPs. That last one, the latest one he dropped this year, like if they called that an album, I wouldn't be mad at it.
It's like funny because I had that on my list, but based off the amount of songs on it, I was like, I don't even really consider this an EP, so I just scratched it off.
Because I think like if you look at songs like just you know full songs, it's like 9 songs, which now if you go by Illmatic standards, right? Illmatic was 9 songs, but one of them was the intro. So 9 songs by itself is an album. I think it's 12 tracks on that latest. To me, it feels like an album also because it feels like cohesive,
right?
You know, beginning to end. But yeah, like of 13 average, like if it's 12, I ain't mad at it. If it's 14, I ain't mad at it, but right around there. And if you want to throw in like intro or like a skit, then you could bring it up.
But you want 14 songs. You could throw in whatever you want.
I want 13. I want 13 songs. If you give me 14 songs, I ain't mad at it. But I feel like 13 is the nice point right there.
All right. And what about you, Kel?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think between 10 and 14. Between 10 and 14, I can go between that range. Again, I'm with you. I'm at the stage now. I don't want to hear like the reference buster. I don't want to hear skits and comedy, and just give me the songs and keep it at that. The other stuff doesn't. I mean, I think we liked, you know, De La Soul's Dead. They had a lot of skits and stuff like that, but nowadays I'm not really feeling that.
Yeah, and I think now at 46, I'm much more quality over quantity. So like. Yeah. Even when Maxwell dropped his first joint, the Black Summer Nights, and it was like, I think he has 8 songs on there, and people were mad. I was like, yo, but he's 8 for 8. It's like the Pusha T thing. It's like you're 8 for 8. I'd rather you just be perfect than fuck around and put 5 more songs on here, and then there's subpar, and then bring the album down. Give me 10 more minutes of y'all time because I got a question. Eddie, me and you were chopping it up about this. Nick, our good brother Nick, put on the timeline. You know, he was like, "Kill, y'all got to do a show about." If like these are classics, talking about Illmatic, you know, Paid in Full, It Takes a Nation, you know, what are, you know, because he's basically like everybody's on the timeline basically now calling everything a classic. Like everything is a classic. And I'm like, I can't speak for the timeline. But do you all feel like you need a different title for an album? Like, I'll give you an example. Purple Rain is a 5 mic classic album. I call it a classic. D'Angelo's Brown Sugar, to me, is a 5 mic classic album. I personally don't need to be like, Purple Rain is a super duper duper classic and Brown Sugar is like a super classic. Like to me, they're just all classics. You know what I mean? So, and I was telling them I don't think it needs to take a whole show, but we could chop it up as a segment. Do you all feel like there does need to be a difference? And Eddie, you made a good point when I was talking about All-Stars. What I said was, you know, with the All-Star, you're just hearing Michael Jordan had 15 All-Star appearances.
Right.
You're not hearing, or you'll hear, you know, such and such coming off the bench, he had 8 All-Star appearances. It's not like they're saying, oh, he was an 8-time All-Star off the bench. You know what I mean? Or, right. You know, it's just y'all are all All-Stars. You know what I mean? But
in the NBA thing, like we said,
right,
yeah.
Right. Or like, and Ed's point was, well, look at it like, you know, first team All-NBA, second team All-NBA, third team All-NBA. Great point. But for me, I don't need to know that you're, you know, third All-NBA. Like, you're just a great player. So, but Penny, what do you think? Do you feel like there needs to be a differential between Purple Rain and a Thriller and Brown Sugar? Or do you think there needs to be a differential between Illmatic being 5 Mic Classic and Runaway Slave being a 5 Mic Classic?
I mean, I guess so, because I do that.
Okay.
I mean, I differentiate, and I try not to use general shit, because over the years I got my list down. So when we're talking about albums, and there's top 25 albums, and I think that's worthy of putting that in there, because that gives the person I'm talking to like a real understanding of how high I value this album. And, you know, if it's a specific conversation, I'll drop the specific number. Like, you know, and we do this. Like, to me, exactly, use those two. Runaway Slave is a 5 Mic Classic to me. Some other people may not see it that way, but to me it is. But Illmatic or Paid in Full or It Takes the Nations and Millions are, you know, my top 5 records.
But do you give it an extra title? Like, is, you know, yeah. Are you? What's your title?
I'll put a top 5, top 25, or top 10, top 15, whatever it is.
Okay.
Within that 25.
Okay, so you would be like, Illmatic is a top 5 classic, Runaway Slave is a classic, but it's not in my top 25 or something exactly. Like that. All right, cool. What about you, Ed?
Like for me, I think someone on the timeline used the term seminal. I like that term. And, you know, there's certain albums that it shouldn't matter if, for me, it's a top 5 or top 10 or whatever. There's certain hip hop albums that are so groundbreaking that it needs to be recognized on a different level. And I feel like rock does that. I feel like other genres do that very well. Rock does that. Jazz does that very well.
But like, give me an example. Like, what does rock do? I don't know.
Like, if you're talking about, I mean, I'm not that familiar, but if you talk about like U2 or something like that, or Rolling Stones or whatever, like there's these seminal albums that are always, you know, brought up when they talk about a genre. Maybe the term is like a genre defining albums, right? Okay. And I feel like hip hop has that genre defining albums, and it doesn't matter what someone else rates it. I feel like it should be recognized, because these young kids, they didn't grow up on it. They didn't grow up on Rakim and Big Daddy Kane or Slick Rick. They didn't grow up on NWA or you know, EPMD or Tribe Called Quest. You know what I mean? Like, but there's albums that are just genre defining, like shifted the culture type of albums that they may listen to it and they don't get it. It's not the sound that they're used to. It's not the type of rapping. And they be like, they'll post up their album that came out 5 years ago and be like, this album is better than a Low End Theory. And I've seen that. And it's a level of disrespect, but I think it needs to be placed on almost like a Mount Rushmore as genre defining. Like, yo, those are untouchable. Okay. Like, regardless of what your personal preference is, it's just untouchable, because those albums did so much for the culture.
Right. And Kel, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with both Penny and Eddie. I think, and kind of what you were saying, so I didn't see the timeline that the discussion you were talking about, but I think it's a good analogy, like you said, with the All NBA or, you know, how like the NBA did the top 50 players.
Right.
I mean, there's Hall of Famers, but then you got the top 50.
50.
You know?
Right.
So the NFL, the top 75 NFL players. So I think you can differentiate it like that. So you have, yeah, like I said, B-Nuts. I love the Street Level. It's great. It's a class 5-man classic to me too. But it's not Paid in Full. It's not Nations. It's not Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders, something like that.
So what title would you give it? What title would you give Paid in Full?
I mean, it's 5 mics, but I think it's definitely the top. It's a top tier, like in your
top tier classic.
Top tier classic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
all right. Cool. What's up, Penny?
I mean, you know, I think most of us do this, but there's a couple of words that I specifically also use that I should also mention. I mean, it has to timeless and iconic, and those two could be used for other things because there's, you know, you can have an iconic album perhaps or a timeless one and not in the same. But a lot of times when those two things are mentioned, I think that also goes to show that this, you know, a lot of people generalize as Hall of Fame.
Right.
I've said that, but I think that's a little bit more specific. And that's why, I'll go down to how I see them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, to me, it's just like try to let people understand you better. When you give them that kind of information, I don't know how more specific you can be about, okay, so that's where he sees that album, you know?
Right.
So, because that's what we're talking about in the essence of it is how we feel about things and how we see them. And we all see them a little bit differently. But I agree with Eddie. There's seminal albums. That's good. And again, like I said, iconic and albums and timeless albums. And that they should be recognized. But, you know, quickly, I said something about, you know, that post that was going around yesterday about it was a picture of Illmatic and what's the best song on the best,
right.
ever, and everybody said something different. You know, I said Paid in Full, and you know, oh no, I said My Melody is what I said, but I also said, you know, I'm definitely not mad at that. I'm definitely not mad at younger kids idolizing that album like I idolize Paid in Full or It Takes a Nation a Million. They could do so much worse than
naming it.
Tell me that this is the best album. I don't care how brash they are. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it. So to me, I felt like I needed to say that because it's not. I don't like just being all snark and shit. You know, sometimes you know, the little kids also need some kind of recognition that this is a good fucking choice. It's a top 5 album to me too. Yeah. You know, so
hey man, the funny thing, thinking about Illmatic, and it makes me think about you know, the iconic the '95 Source Awards when, you know, Biggie won the Album of the Year, and you know that motivated Nas to make It Was Written. But I'll tell you what, like as much of a marketing genius as Puff was, if Puff could have had Ready to Die looked at historically the same way that Illmatic is, like when, you know, for even for the young kids, like when they think classic hip hop album, it's like it's automatically Illmatic. Like I'm sure if Puff could have done that for Biggie's Ready to Die, he absolutely would have, you know, because, you know, the way he did when he had that show, when he had the band on the show, having to sing, making the band, and they had to recite Juicy and all that, like trying to, in a way for me, trying to inflate the historical importance of Juicy, because Juicy's a dope song, but I don't know anyone who got Ready to Die and was like, yo, the first joint I want to go to is Juicy. It's like, nah, you know, it was just a good song on a very dope album. but it wasn't all that. So, you know, it's funny to me that, you know, it's still debatable. People act like it's not debatable about Illmatic, but I know for sure, knowing the way Puffy is, if he could get Ready to Die in that level, like, you know, he'd sell his soul.
See, the hard part, I think, a lot of times for me is I'm always wondering, like, see, I almost feel like we have to define the young folk who we're talking about. You know what I mean? Because I say young folk, and Ed, you're 4 years younger than me. You know what I mean? But then you'll say young folk, and then somebody 6 years younger than you. So
I think I'm well. You're 46. I'm 40.
Yeah.
So I'm
all right,
60.
so goddamn, I'm just that much older. Okay, we're back. Well, I'm old, but like, kind of like what I'm wondering is, how do the young kids take to Illmatic? And because me and Nick always disagree on this, Nick and Porsche are from the standpoint of, if something is defined as a classic, they go with that. Whereas I disagree. You could tell me Paul Boutique is a classic all day, the Beastie's second album. I don't think it's a classic, so I'm not going to call it a classic. Like, I think The Godfather is a good movie. I don't think it's a fucking classic, so I'm not going to call it a classic. Whereas you have other people who believe, no, it's a you know, it's deemed like that's just what The Godfather is. It's a classic movie. And I'm just like, I can't give something a title that I don't believe in, because I don't even know who the fuck came up with this. You know, from what I hear, the Beatles have classic albums. I have never had a conversation with anyone in my life, younger, older, jazz musician, from my mom, soul people. I've never met one human being who sat down and told me, hey, Kill, the Beatles made classic music. Not one person. But I'm sure when you talk about the Beatles, they're supposed to have these classic albums. But I'm like, I can't tell you something's a classic that, number one, I've never heard, nor don't even want to listen to, and don't even know the person who has deemed it a classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing about Paul's Boutique, and this is where I guess the terms and the titles come in, is I would label it a genre defining. But you know, I agree with you. Like, I can't personally say it's a classic, because I mean, I don't really like the album like that. It's a genre defining for what it did for sampling, right? Like, it changed the game as far as sampling goes. But, you know, is it dope? Like, do I feel like I want to go back and play it over and over? No. But I recognize it did a lot for hip hop.
And see, that's the part that I don't get. Like, I never understood. And I mean, you're absolutely right, because I have a book around here somewhere that, oh God, this joint, Creative License, and it's talking about sampling, and it talks about how Paul's Boutique and It Takes a Nation of a Millions could never be made again because there's 8 million samples in there. So you're 100% right that people deem Paul Boutique as this genre's, you know, changing thing. I just personally don't see it. Like, I don't personally understand what did the Beasties do on that album that made producers like scratch their head. Like, I get it for Nations. I mean, with the Bomb Squad was doing amazing. Everybody has. I need a producer or somebody. So if y'all out there watch, somebody tell me, how did Paul's Boutique? Because I've never heard, again, I've never met the human being. I've probably read it in an article in Spin Magazine, or maybe somebody wrote about it in the sort. I've yet to meet the human being to say I was influenced by Paul's Boutique. You know what I mean? Like, with Pete, I get it. With Pete, oh my God, the echoing horns, the filtered bass lines, or the beat miners. Oh, I filtered my bass line like the beat miners, or I chop like Dilla, or I scratch like Preem. I've yet to hear the human being say I filled in the blank because of Paul's Boutique.
But do you think like they were influenced without wanting to emulate their sound? Like, they might have been influenced like, oh, I didn't know I could put all these different samples and create something different without necessarily saying, I want to, they may not have said, I want to sound like the Beasties, but it kind of might have opened up their mind to like, oh, now there's more freedom in what I could do as a producer.
Oh, no doubt. Like, they very, and I'm assuming that that's what it is. I just think for me, and that's why I've always told Nick, it's hard for me to do it because I've never met these people. Like, I don't, you know, Kimbrough McLeod and Peter DeColey. I don't have any idea who these people are. I don't know if they're producers. I have no idea. So just because they pick Paul. Because what I'm realizing, this happens on the timeline a lot. People just gravitate to what other people say. And especially, to be honest with you, and I always tell people, when you're buying books, look at the author, because everybody who can write a book don't mean they know what they're talking about. So it's kind of, I've literally seen people go in the barbershop and verbatimly say, that's not a word, verbatimly, say verbatim what Stephen A. Smith just said on ESPN, just to be part of the conversation in the barbershop. Like, I've literally seen people just grab on to whatever. And y'all know me, I will be on an island by myself. I fucking hate Ben Simmons. Everybody up here can love Ben Simmons. I could care less. I hate the motherfucker. I want him out of my city. I can stand on an island by myself. I realize most people nowadays can't. So they just gravitate to whatever everybody else says. So like I said, I just haven't met the producer who has said, Paul's Boutique has done this. I'm sure it has for somebody, because like you said, it's in a book. Like, there's all these other, albums you could have pulled from. So, I mean, that's just me, but I totally agree with you that, but so how are you with that? Like, Penny, if you don't like The Godfather, do you just say it's a classic movie because it is deemed a classic movie?
Look, man, I don't know if cinema is is really.
You're right. So let's stay with hip hop. I apologize because
you can really do that. You're talking about 100 years of movies,
right? Let's just go with hip hop. Let's go with hip hop.
What's the question?
Let's say you don't think Illmatic is a genre, changing album. Like, you think it's a good album, but the world, everybody else in the world says it's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you say Illmatic is a classic based off of what you think, or based off of what the masses think?
If I say something like that about an album that I don't think is a classic, I can't think of one now, it would be because coming up, everybody around me considered it a classic. Something that stood the test of time with other people close to me, maybe not with me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm saying
so for you, it's about the people who are close to you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It makes total sense.
Like coming up, you always in a crew and you hung out together tight. Right. Even though I moved, I always talk to my homies still. So similar conversations.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's just something that's the way that goes down for me, I think.
Right. And I understand that in your crew, because that's why I keep saying I've yet to meet the human being who tells me the Beatles are so amazing or they have classic albums. Like, I hear that through documentaries on TV. I'll, be flipping channels in here, but I've yet to hear another human being come to me and be like, "Yo, what's up with the Beatles? Where they at in your crate?" Like, nobody has ever G-checked me on the Beatles. Like,
I remember one time there was a situation on the TL, man. And, a bunch of hip-hop motherfuckers talking about, there was somebody defending the Beatles. And I simply said, I tried to explain why I wasn't into their music, And I try to say it was in a simple way, not really dissing them. Like, just sonically, rhythmically, the drums, all of it, just never really something I was interested in. I mean, my wife, I'm sure, loves the Beatles. She doesn't play it around me, but I'm sure she loves that shit,
And here's the wild part. I'm 46. The Beatles, shit, I was born in 74. So it always amazes me that now on the timeline, we have these musical experts of music that was out 30 years before y'all was even born. And y'all are trying. But this is what I mean by you hear something and then you stand on that. Whereas again, I'm just always about whatever speaks to you, which to me is like, yo, if something spoke to you, then if you tell me right now, yo, Kill, this is a classic album, I disagree. But if it spoke to you and you feel that highly about it, then you give it a classic, then to me, that's okay. I don't want the source or a music journalist or the documentary to tell me it's a classic. Like you said, I can get you, if my crew said it was a classic, then I can bend to that. But I'm just always like, I just personally, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who do. I just, if it doesn't speak to me, I can't call it a classic album or a classic movie or anything classic.
The way you see it is right, really, because
I mean, look at it like this: the Mona Lisa is supposedly like one of the greatest paintings ever, right? The Mona Lisa, like that shit look whack to me. Like just straight up and down. Like if I had $1 billion, I'm not buying the Mona Lisa and hanging it in my crib. The shit looks whack. So I can't sit there and be like, well, this is a classic painting. I love it. I can't hang something in my house I don't love. So I can't just hang it because it's worth this. But I know there are people who are like that. There are a lot of people who dress a certain way, not because they like it, but because money is associated with it and things like that. That's just not my personality. But I'm sorry, Ed, what were you going to say?
Now I was going to say, yeah, man, like as far as painting, you know, it goes with that. Like, shoot, man, if I want to buy a piece of art, the artist that did Thought's latest album cover, like he's on Instagram, yo, he got like incredibly dope art.
You said whose album? Yo, whose album?
The artist who did Black Thoughts.
Oh yeah, the Stream of Conscious 3 joint. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he's on IG, like he got incredibly dope art, and it's like, dude, like he may not be internationally known or whatever, he might be more known now, but shit, I'll buy his shit like way before I buy like any of these classical type of artists that, you know, look all bougie and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you gotta buy stuff and like you said about dressing and everything too. You know, you gotta do what speaks to you, what you know, what comes to you naturally. I mean, you know, so music is like that. And I acknowledge certain albums that may not have spoke to me because maybe it was a regional thing, right? Like Nick talks about rating certain albums higher than others. Like he grew up in Atlanta. He didn't have the, like he calls the East Coast bias. You know, he didn't have that. You know, he listened to everything from West Coast to South to, you know, East Coast, all that stuff. You know, then there's about the age, certain things. You know, there's younger hip hop fans that think Get Rich or Die Trying is a bona fide classic. I don't personally hear it. I recognize that it was influential. You know, I've recognized that 50 Cent had a really big following, but I listened to that album, I'm like, nah, it's not a classic to me.
Right. I feel you. What about you, Kel? Do you feel the need to, like, if something is, if the world says It Was Written is better than Illmatic, like, would you go with that? Like, yeah, that's the classic album, or is it just like, you know, about what speaks to you? And again, I'm not taking a shot at anybody who thinks otherwise. I'm not saying my way is right. And there's no right or wrong answers on Apartment 5B. I'm just always inquisitive to hear about why people feel certain ways. So it's no shots. If you feel like, yo, Kill, if Illmatic is a classic, even if I hated Illmatic, I'd have to call it a classic. No shot. Like, I'm just, you know, I just want to know why you feel like you'd have to call it a classic. That's all. So, Kel, what were you gonna say?
You know, I was gonna say, you know, hey, at Morgan, we've got arguments. We argue people
to death.
To death. I mean, there's so many different varied opinions. People trying to force their opinion on you on top of that. So now I'm with you. I think you have your own opinion. You pick what you like. You like what you like. And actually, it's interesting you said that about you're talking about young people, going back to that. There's some kid, I can't think of his name. He's on YouTube, but people are constantly. He might be like maybe early 20s, but people are constantly saying, "Hey, you should listen to this." Listen, he's open to it. So I'm open to listening to someone's opinion on albums and stuff. But I mean, it's not gonna change my opinion if they think it's classic. I don't think it's classic, but I will listen to it and stuff. But the kids on this particular YouTube page, they'll say, "Hey, go listen to Illmatic, or go listen to Ready to Die, go listen to Unfinished Business." And he's game. He's like, "Okay, I'll listen to it and see what it's like." You know, I see what you're saying. Like on your timeline, people, you know, the young kids come at you or whatever and say, "You should listen to this," or "This is dope." But he's like, "All right, you know, OG, I'm gonna listen to you and hear what your era was talking about." And a lot of times, it's funny. He'll listen like, "Yo, these guys are nice," you know. So
yeah,
he's not judgmental. He's open to listen and, you know, making that too.
One of the dopest mixtapes I heard recently was, not recently, this was years ago, But Royce, I think it was Bar Exam 4. And what Royce did was he rhymed over a lot of the newer beats. And I didn't know they were newer beats because I don't listen to these artists. But one of my teens was in the car. He was like, oh, that's such and such song. And it was dope because I was able to get him to see. So I said, well, how do you think about this MC over your MC song? He was just like, yo, he's better. You know what I mean? So it was just dope. But I always do that with my kids. You know, I'll play them, you know, Rewind by Nas and, you know, then be like, can your favorite rapper do that? So, you know, I'm not saying your music is trash. I'm allowing you to make your own decision on that. And for my book, shout out The Legends of Hip Hop by Justin Bua. Very dope artist. Eddie, you talking about dope artists. Bua is one of the few people who like I really go out and really like buy his originals. Like that is my stuff. I mean, his art is very dope. You know, if you're not up on Bua, Justin Bua has a lot of great stuff. You know, Rakim, and this book is just all his, you know, hip hop paintings and drawings. What was a dope one? Talking about Nas. You got Nas in the Projects of Queensbridge. So just a very dope book. So definitely check this out. Penny, let them know where they can get at you. Let them know where they can not just get at you, but see you in movies for people who don't know. This is my brother, very accomplished actor. So shout us out and where we can check you out, good brother.
On Twitter, Penny_Butter. Right now on Prime is a noir film that I did called Regretting Fish. You can watch that for free on Prime. Regretting Fish. It's a little crimey joint. So check that out.
All right. Yeah. Eddie, where can they get at you, good brother?
Yo, before I go, man, I'm gonna say, yeah, I watched that joint, Penny. I was rocking with that, man.
Oh,
like,
dope.
I like your performance, yo. Like, I think I don't know if I posted on the timeline. I was like, oh shit, like Penny pistol whipped someone and
yo, it's a dope role, man.
Funny, man,
fun to shoot.
Like, because I know you're playing a character, man, but like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, nah, that's Penny. So it's real interesting watching that movie with that mindset.
That dude is different, man. That was
word.
I couldn't be that dude, man. That dude. Well, I was that dude, but I couldn't be that dude in real life, man. That motherfucker has no fear. Zero. Of God, of nobody. Yeah.
No, but definitely dope flick. Check it out. You can catch me on Twitter at EddieD80 and on Instagram Eddie Got Soul.
All right, Kel, where can I get at you, good brother?
Twitter at Kelvin Davis Sr. Real easy to follow. And at Big Kelvin on Instagram.
All right. You already know it's with me, Kill889, Twitter, IG, We'll Make Beats for Food. The cat's out the bag. It should be dropping this week. Me and RJ Payne got a joint together. I'm just hyped for folk to hear it. I'm excited about it. It's very seldom that, you know, you get to rock with people who you are a fan of. You know what I mean? So just excited for everybody here to join, and prayerfully this will, you know, be the start of something, you know, with me and him and other folk too. So I know folk. I think the best compliment that I've gotten since I posted it last week was, we know this shit is going to be hot. You know what I mean? So that's like just dope to know. Like, it's not like, we know RJ going to come with it, but Kill, I don't know what you going to do. Like, it's like people being like, nah, this is going to be stupid. So prayerfully by the time we post this on Monday, it'll be out. So yeah, that's it. Just, y'all already know what it is. I'll catch y'all next week, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
All right.